Okay, folks, today I'm going to go over a couple tools that will help you line up text. I'm going to go over some more layer use tools to expand your vocabulary there and help you with this latest assignment. So we're going to start by going with a new file. We're going to go print. Okay, so we get the 300 dpi resolution, of course, and it is set to a white background. I'm going to switch that to transparent. One, because I want you to know you can switch to transparent, and then I'm going to show you some tricks that I use for workflow if I might need to export it as transparent, but I want to be able to see stuff. So going to go ahead and create that. And you see, the transparent gives you the gray boxes. It's not always the easiest to work with because there's not big contrast there. So what I like to do sometimes, I've got my layers palette there. These are opposite of my normal workflow, but I usually have them on other sides, but it's okay. I will take the rectangle tool and just give it a color, whatever color I think. It's usually black or white, usually not a color, because I don't want to grab a color and have something not show up. And what that does, and there we go, I did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do. Anyway, so blue, what that does is it gives me a tool that will, a layer that will show what's going on. I can always get rid of it, and then I can always delete that layer. Okay, so for today, we are working with grouping objects, aligning the graphic posters you're trying to do to demonstrate, repetition and some of those things lend itself to using these tools. So I thought I would give you that opportunity, this demo. All right, so what I'm going to do is create a series of 200 pixel squares, okay? Quite a few of them. We're going to demonstrate quite a few of them. This is okay. I said squares. It's going to be a circle because the square is small and the corners are rounded, so that's why it's coming out that way. So that's fine. Don't really want that blue though, so let's change to a black. Okay. And then once I've got that set, I can just keep clicking, okay? And if I want a bunch of circles to work with, that's one way I can do it, is just keep clicking and hitting OK and getting those circles generated. But there are a couple others. One is just the classic copy and paste. I use Command-C for that, but you can go to Edit Copy, and then I'm going to switch to the Move tool. And then I can just Command-V. And you'll see it looks like nothing's happening. Okay, but you see I'm adding layers because these are just stacked on top of each other. I'm pasting them in the same spot. Okay, there is a third way to do this if I want a bunch of something, and that is I can select all these layers. I can select a bunch of layers, and I can duplicate them. Can duplicate layers, and it's going to give me more of those. Now, once again, it doesn't look like they're there because they're stacked on top. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of these circles. I'm going to go back and add some white ones just so that I can demonstrate some of these things. Let's make this guy white. Okay. And then I'm going to use the fastest way to do this, I think, which is just, gotta click out here. Okay. Just Command-C and then Command-V a bunch of times to give me a bunch of these circles. And hit V to get back to my Move tool there. And spread these guys out. Okay. What I wanted to show you first was grouping. Okay. All of these copies, these copy twos, I believe, are my white squares. Yeah, they are. But it gets confusing, so I wanted to show you some organizational tools that allow you to work with layers more efficiently. I can group all these. I could have named them white square up front, but I want to just get my white squares. That one's black. Okay, so I know that all my white squares are in here. That should be all of my white squares. All right. And I can do something to work with them all together. And that is I can group them, okay, new group from layers. And I can even name it white squares, which helps in the organization with a more complex document, okay? And now these are my white squares. Anything I do to them as a group. Oh, got a couple guys in there that are not white squares, okay? No problem. I can come in here, I can ungroup layers, and I can use my trick for finding out which ones those guys are. Okay, I went up too high. It was those two. All right, and now I can go back. Could go back and regroup all of my white squares. I can move them around as a group, even if they're just selected. They're all selected, I can move them that way. So if it's just a quick thing, no big deal. If you don't want to link them as a group, that's fine. So I can group them. Sorry, I'm using two different terms. I can group them or I can link them. And let me show you the important difference. If I group them, new group from layers, white squares, I've got that white square group. They're all together. And notice they're in a nice little, it tidies things up. It drops it down. Okay. I can do that with them. But I can also link them. So let me show you what happens when they are grouped together and I go to effects. If I go to effects and I choose a drop shadow, every one of these will get the same drop shadow under it, okay? So it puts an identical drop shadow under every member of that layer. Oh, sorry, I gotta accept those changes, okay? All right, so that's what happens with the group. If I ungroup them, ungroup these layers, so I'm gonna lose my drop shadow because it was assigned to the group is now gone, okay? And then if I link these layers down here, you can see that I still move them together. They still function as a group that way. But if I just select this layer, which one aren't we? Okay, so watch that guy in a minute. Then I go to effects and I add a drop shadow to him. It's only added to that one that I've selected rather than the entire group. So that's one of the big differences between grouping and linking as an organizational tool. But I wanted to show you some of the other tools built in here to help you organize and align. First of all, I want to remind you, you have guidelines, okay? You can line stuff up on these guidelines when you're working to get them where you want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and use my move tool, and I'm going to click and, I'm going to unlink these guys for this, sorry. Link, I need to select just one. I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to line them up, okay? Now I'm going to select all of these layers. I'm going to select all of my white boxes over here. I'm going to use my tools up here to get them in one line, okay? And now they're in one line. See how this tool aligned all the selected layers. But I want to do another thing, which is distribute them evenly. So based on selection, it's going to spread them out evenly between this guy lined up on this guideline, that guy lined up on that guideline. So as soon as I'm going to select the vertical orientation, and know those are evenly spaced. So that teaches you how to group, how to align.
Can I please have the following students
and how to work with those layers.
Seth Gross, Chloe Manzanares to the main office.